Trafford. We'll just start on the news. Jamie Hansen's come in on loan from Derby County today. Just what can he bring to us?
Yeah, obviously, he's good on the ball, good technique, but he's a tough kid as well. He'll put his foot in, he'll get up to people and tackle, and he's versatile. To play in a few positions. It was one that nearly got done the morning of the Derby County game, and it's dragged its heels a little bit, but a useful acquisition between now and the end of the season, and like I say, he can play in a variety of positions as well, which is important in the situation we're in.
Obviously he's ineligible having played in the Cup, and United the focus now, a chance to focus on that. How excited are you to go to Old Trafford?
I'm being honest, it's just another game for us that that you want to try and win. We'll try and work out what the team will be, on what the team is from Thursday. I think that's the difficult thing. By and large, a lot of the games that we've played in, we've got a reasonable idea of what the opposition's going to be and how to set up against them and how to play against them. I think it's difficult assessing what team they play and how they play. That's the problems going into it, as well as them. Some reasonable players playing as well.
I was going to say, in general, how do you approach playing a team full of such quality, regardless of who they name?
They've only got, I've been there, so I know that they've got 2 arms and 2 legs like everybody else, and I know that that's how you would approach it. That's how you spoke to the young players at the club when you were there to try and take the places of world-class superstars. They've got to approach it like that, respect but no respect. And do something about it. If you think you're capable in a 1v1 battle out on the pitch where there's no hiding places, you pit yourself against them and try to beat whoever you're playing against. That's how you'd approach the game.
When the draw came out of the hat, did you think it was written in the stars as such when you turn the TV on to watch the draw?
You see it often, don't you, in cup draws and things like that. I mean, Michael Owen was laughing his head off when he pulled the numbers out, and you do see things like that happen regularly. It didn't surprise me. I said it to some of my friends. I said, we'll definitely get them. They were laughing, and the odds of getting it probably would be enormous, but it didn't surprise me.
And on top of it all, it's a great draw for the club as well.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great day for the fans, isn't it? A great day for the players to go and pit themselves against, one of the best sides in the world. So, it's a good opportunity for them.
And you go into it on the back of 3 wins as well, so you can take a lot of confidence into the game.
Yeah, we've already said during the particular time, we've got the wins, but during that period we were unlucky not to get more wins as well. I think the performances have been decent, so we're going to that, with everything to play for, really.
In terms of the team, of course, Alex Gilby and Reece James both got some football this week. Is it going to be too soon for them, or can we expect them in and around the squad?
No, it's too soon for them, really. They've been out a lengthy period, and good to see them and come through relatively unscathed yesterday. In a bounce game, they both did okay in it as well. So that was good for the club and good for the lads particularly.
And how's Yannick Wiltshire? Of course, missed the game last weekend.
He's not trained so far this week, so we'll just assess that tomorrow and later in the week to see, what was on there.
So when the draw came out, did you think I could do without that, or do you think it's coming home?
Just thought it was a good bit of money for the club as well, to be fair. Coming up to the transfer window, so that was the main thing. I don't think you'd think you can do without it. You want to test yourself all the time. All players want to play the highest level they can possibly play at and play against the best and see where they pitch up against, people, out on the football pitch when there's no hiding place. So I think it's a good opportunity for some of the younger players to play against seasoned internationals, in a big stadium and just see exactly where they are.
So in truth, has that given you some flexibility in the transfer market? Is there a tendency that you've got a bit of cash to spend?
I think obviously it does, doesn't it? I think it's obviously revenue that you're expecting, and I think when you become a manager you think about them things instead of just developing players. So I think that was the kind of initial one for myself. It's not a day about me. This is a great day for the fans. It's a good day for the players to go and pit themselves against them. I'm in them surroundings before, so I know what it's like to be at Old Trafford. I think it's great for the fans and the players, really.
You look like you're enjoying yourself now, especially on the back of 3 wins. Was it a hard wrench? Was it a hard thing to say, right, I'm going to come out of my comfort zone where people admired you and liked you and said some very nice things about you and kind of stand on your own?
It possibly was. It was more of an impossible time during the time when Sir Alex was there, because the people at the club offered you the job under the terms of they were looking for somebody who wanted to genuinely develop players and not use the job of working at Manchester United to profile herself to get another job, you know. So I think hopefully the people who employed me at that time would think I served my time and did all the things that I was asked to do. I certainly know that there was many opportunities to leave and go to Championship clubs or Premier League clubs, either as manager or assistant manager during that time. But I think the big secret of Manchester United during that period, where everybody at the club was that desperate to do a good job for Sir Alex, that it was a pleasure, a privilege to work there, really, rather than anybody thinking that way, that they were using it to get something better. They all were just desperate, you know, to be thought of in a decent light by the manager, you know, and that's everybody in the club, you know, that you can't underestimate the value of the kit men and the physios and the medical staff and the sports side, or the girls who work in the canteen, because they all contributed, you know, not only in the success with the first team, but developing young players and keeping them grounded.
And they now want to give you a hard time on Sunday.
Who will give me
all those people who you were talking about?
Oh, possibly, yeah.
But the manager's very good at sort of manager. Sir Alex is very good at giving support to people, especially when they step away from. Has he done that? I imagine if he has.
Yeah, I've spoken to him.
This week,
yeah, I've spoken to him obviously several times since I've been here, and spoke to him a lot, you know, whilst I was making the decision, you know, to come as well. So, you know, you feel privileged that you can pick up the phone and speak to people like that.
And how much easier as a task is it that you know where you're going, some of your players know where you're going and what it's like? Does that make an easier thing for some ones who haven't been in that situation to go to Old Trafford and have more confidence because you do know what you're doing there?
A little bit, but when the game starts, you just want everybody to go out and enjoy the situation and express themselves and think like that as well, that it's an individual battle, so you want to beat the bloke you're playing against, you know. And I know how fit some of the players are. I know that they've got world-class players all around the pitch, and they've got two big teams as well that are like that. But I think it's a good test and a good challenge for the lads. The bits that are different is the size of the pitch that you don't realise till you play on it, you know, and things like that, you know. But I just think it's a great challenge for the football club, really, to go and see how well we can do, really.
Does it help you when you're picking a team to think, I know most of those players I'm playing against, whether you brought them through or whether you played with them in under 23s and they've come back to injury? I mean, you've worked with the majority of those players, except for some of the new ones that have come through in the last sort of season. So.
You know the players, you know obviously a lot about the players, particularly even the older ones. You know, you've had a lot of experience dealing with them and coaching and training with them. There's an extra spice and banter for them as well, that, you know, I don't want them proving too much how good of a player they are as well. So you can send that message out.
There's some reflective praise in that, though. If they beat you, full pulp was the winner, then it's thanks to your tuition further on down the line, isn't it?
No, you've obviously got, you know, like I said before, it's not about me this game. You've got a lot of memories there that's not irrelevant, but it's in the past now, and, you know, the future is what happens here at Wigan Athletic. So the stuff there is fantastic memories for myself, you know, friendships and bonds that you've made with players and staff, you know, during that time. You know, you can't put a price on that money-wise, you know, and they'll live with you forever, and you've always got that. But it's not about that game. The game's not about that today. It's about our players and the fans and them having a memory of their own.
Yeah, I mentioned Pogba. How disappointed were you to see him go, but then also equally pleased to see him come back and being talked about as maybe a world-class player?
Yeah.
Is that a fine?
Told he was in a rush. Yeah, I think at the particular time, you don't realise how many other really good top players were at the football club. You know, young players. But they're coming into an environment where you're looking at Neville, Vidic, Ferdinand, Evra, Carrick, Giggs, Scholes, Ronaldo, Rooney, Tevez, Party, so there was world class players in every position. So the bar for players breaking in during that period, when people, they're not only top players, they're really humble human beings who work their socks off every day. So the bar to get in was really difficult. You know, now I actually think you could reel 20, 30 names. It's hard to cut a squad down of 30 players in the last 8 years that wouldn't do well in the Premier League now if they were all playing together. You know, they're scattered around other clubs. You've got all them players playing together, and I think you'd have a really, really top squad.
Yeah, a lot of those players you mentioned there said that your sessions were brutal when they had to play for the 23s.
But
they liked it.
But if you're trying to prepare them for, you know, I was trying to prepare lads to go past those top players. So they ain't going to get past them because they've got more ability in them. Those top players are still humble, who know the jobs and want to play and continue playing at the top. So young kids coming into that environment, there's got to be something different. So the only bits that the kids can be different is they've got to be hungrier, nastier, fitter, because they ain't going to get by just on talent alone, or they don't know the jobs quite as well. You know, so you had to create that environment where it was brutal. So it was brutal for the older players when they came down as well.
One of those players who came through the system who's with you now is Ravel Morrison. What's the situation there, Warren? Is he close? Is he?
No, he's just training at the minute, you know, and to be assessed. You know, it's, you know, obviously it's a while since he's trained at that intensity, you know, for different reasons. So you certainly don't lose your talent, but you know the situation we're in, it's got to be usable talent to help the situation between now and the end of the season.
But could that be usable talent, do you think, between now and the end of the season? I mean, you know, we're in sort of halfway through, or 2/3 of the way through.
The thing is, you know, some of the players that we've got, there's some really talented midfield players here who are miles fitter as well. You know, so anybody coming in they've got something to compete with. You know, so it's not just on the things I'm saying to you. It's not just talent alone. There's a lot of things you've got to be able to use that to pit yourself against the players that are here to show you're better. And there's some really good young midfield players at the club as well as a couple of older ones as well that do that. They know the jobs, they know the roles, they're good pros, they're fit, you know, and they're competitive and they can pass the ball. So it's not an easy job for anybody, and you want that. It's not an easy job for, you know, Jordan Flores is a good young player, a local lad. He's got to do something to get past some of the senior ones here by being exactly the things I was on about for young players at Man United.
Last question for me. Who do you want to win on Thursday night between Hull and Manchester United? United said they're in a cup final and they're relaxed, or?
Difficult question. Particularly, I was at Hull a long time as well.
I was going to say, yeah.
Can't go to another replay, can I? I can't sit on the fence there.
Will it make it easier if they've got a cup final? Or do you think?
I'm not even thinking about that game, to be honest. It's irrelevant. I think the only thing bearing on it is trying to look at the team that plays and try to guess who would play and who would start. That's the only relevance of that game for me.
Go for it.
You talked about how difficult it was for the young players coming through at United, given all the talent there. So how impressive is it what Marcus Rashford's done and been able to make that real impression in the Premier League?
I think it was a lot easier when he came through than some of the others. You know, I'm not saying he's any worse or any better than the players, but you know, you've still got to get an opportunity to show that, and if there's players in front of you that are doing it every week and are top-notch players as well, it's that much harder. You know, I could name dozens of players who never got an opportunity because of that. You know, Marcus, we used to say to the players, you might get one chance, you've got to be prepared for that one chance because you never know when it's coming. Don't let anything be a shock, for nothing a surprise, and you've got to be training that hard that you turn one game into 5 into 20 into 100, and then your life changes. So he certainly lived by that motto, really. You know, some people never got the one chance to turn to 5. Some got one, turned it to 5, turned it into 20, and then blew it between 20 and 100. You know, and that's our job, was to try and make them the first bit, turn it into 5, turn it into 20, and hope they keep doing the same things that they've done to get 20 to 100, and then for the rest of their careers.
What's the biggest thing that you took from your time under Sir Alex and at United, bringing into here and your own managerial?
I just think how hard you seen everybody work really and how humble the real top people are.
And just for me, you said that Hansen isn't available because he's cup tied. What about your other loan players that you brought in? Can you play any of those? Or?
Yeah, some of them are available, you know, so it's a good opportunity for, you know, like Callum Connolly, and, you know, come from Everton and a young player himself, you know, a good chance for him to show on a big stage. So, you know, we'll just assess with the others and see where they are for the weekend, really.
Revenue aside, how can this cup run or a big game like this help you with your situation in the league, or is it a distraction?
It's just another game that we want to win, you know, different preparation in that you don't know as much about the opposition of, I know that sounds daft, but you don't really know what the team's going to be. You try and guess and fudge it around after Thursday, but the preparation or the lead up to the week is usually more meticulous, because the opposition you play in this league is quite consistent to try and pick what side they play and how they play. So that's the big difference, I think, going into the game. You know, as well as being, obviously, there's a lot of world class players, you know, that available for selection if they so decide to do so.
And are you hoping to bring in any more players before the end of the market?
You're just assessing all the time. I've said all the way through, I think it's a really difficult market to bring unless you've got loads of dough and you can just go, I want him and I'll just pay you that for him and get him. I think it's difficult in the January run. I think most teams plan the season out in the summer and do most of the business then, so I think this one's difficult to work in.
Can I just bore you with a couple more? What's Jose done to turn it around? Because you know how it works inside outside Carrington. You know some of the personalities he's working with. He seems to unlock them in the 17 games.
Well, obviously he's a top. You don't need to talk about me, but
no, but Moyes and Van Gaal were exactly that as well. Same credentials.
I think it was a really difficult job for David Moyes. You felt sorry for him coming, you know, on the back of Sir Alex difficult. I think Louis Van Gaal did well at the football club, you know, and you could see why David Moyes and Louis Van Gaal have been top managers, and they were certainly top people, you know. But you know, obviously Jose's had big success and done well and got the club really going again, and you can see him going from strength to strength. I see a lot in, not that I know him that well, but all his staff were the same ilk. They were so humble and hard-working and dedicated and focused and meticulous, you know. Similar traits, different nationality, but similar traits. So I think that is the lessons, you know, if you say lessons that you learn and you see those real top people work, as well as the top players, the top managers are like that as well. They're humble, hard-working, enthusiastic, dedicated, and all the staff seem to be the same as well.
And ticket-wise, have United sorted you out, or are you struggling?
No, they've never been good with me, the secretaries at that place. I'm struggling. So anybody got a spare one, so you can get them in on a press pass.
I'll have a word with Mr. Alexander, yeah. Top stuff. Thank you.
Warren,
Alright, sorry Warren. You've got some players who've obviously never experienced an atmosphere like Old Trafford or played on that sort of stage. How do you prepare them for that?
Well, you can't, can you? You can't. You don't know what that's going to be like until you actually go out and experience it and see it. You know, but I think knowing the mentality of the group, there is some experienced players there, and some of the younger ones are really ambitious and they want to do well, and I think it's a good taster for them, you know, to see if they thrive on atmospheres like that. And I think knowing them and seeing them and knowing the personalities, that's the challenge for them, and that's what you believe that they will be like to thrive on the situation and look forward just to testing themselves against the best players, you know, some of the best players in the country and even the world.